But my question is really thinking about unintended consequences, or, for instance, the impact on the environment. So we know that Bitcoin every year creates 11.5 kilotons of e-waste. So with every new technology, there's a good part and there's significant, change that can happen here worldwide. But how do you all think about the negative implications? So, the e-waste, what's happening there, and is there anything that can be done to mitigate that here in the early days?
Yeah, I'll start. First of all, Bitcoin uses less than 0.1% of all the energy in the world and a quarter of a point of all the wasted energy in the world. So 99.9% of the energy issue is something else. And about 1/3 of all the energy in the world is just wasted in general. So if the world doesn't want to burn coal, it solves the problem by just shutting down coal. In terms of efficiency, Bitcoin's the most efficient industrial application of energy the human race has ever developed. If you think about it, we're actually moving pure money on an electric network. So in terms of comparison, $1 in Bitcoin energy creates $200 in value. $1 in Google energy creates $10 in value because they're just moving commodity information. $1 in the S&P 500, if you look at every single company, generates $4 in value. And $1 of energy put into American Airlines generates 40 cents in value. So if you're looking at real energy eaters, it's airlines. And if you want to see, industries that consume energy, it's planes, trains, automobiles, heating, air conditioning. In fact, I think somebody had calculated that clothes dryers clothes dryers in the United States use more energy than Bitcoin. So do Christmas tree lights. So,
I think Elon did a disservice by pulling this conversation into the mainstream, right? One of the things that Tim Draper tweeted, which I love, is, have you ever looked at the amount of energy used by fiat money, by the legal system, by Wall Street, by all of those systems are probably orders of magnitude more wasted money than Bitcoin is.
Yeah, some other points. Bitcoin is the highest value use of energy on Earth. The latest Bitcoin miners generate about 40 cents a kilowatt hour in revenue. The typical industrial company in the Western world would pay 10 cents a kilowatt hour in revenue. So if you have a volcano in El Salvador, you can monetize it at 40 cents a kilowatt hour. If you have a geothermal well in Iceland, or if you have a nuclear reactor in Greenland, if you have any stranded power, if you have a dam in the middle of Africa and you want to monetize it, it's your single best hope to monetize stranded energy, to recycle wasted energy, and to catalyze renewable energy. So it's more of a solution to the problem than it is any kind of problem. And if you, there's one last interesting dynamic here. Google can't put a data center in Iceland because they can't monetize all the energy, and they need high bandwidth lines. A typical data center like AWS or Google, it needs super high bandwidth, triple redundancy. And so you would never put it 1,000 miles from civilization. On the other hand, with a Bitcoin mine, you could put it 1,000 miles from the nearest human being on a very thin pipe. You could monetize the entire nuclear reactor or the entire volcano, and you could generate prosperity for a country like El Salvador, or you could you want a wind farm, put it 10,000 miles from the nearest human being and let the wind blow, because Bitcoin monetizes intermittent energy too. So it's a pretty effective technology. And in my opinion, the most efficient way to convert energy into prosperity the human race has yet come up with. So it's really sad when people criticize it for being environmentally unfriendly. The only truth is it's the single most valuable use of energy on Earth. So you can justify, you can unmothball any energy plant. Yeah. But if you choose to fire up a coal plant in Manhattan and the mayor of New York does nothing about it, it's not the Bitcoin network's fault, right?